pointing at me? Are we live? Hey, ballers, welcome to the If These Balls Could Talk with the peers that cause thunderous cheers and are strong as steers and leaders of the frontier. That may have been brought by ChatGPT.
I was going to say, did ChatGPT write that for you, man?
Yes. I was thinking of thinking of rhymes because we did that before and trying to bring that back, even though I think I screwed it up a little bit.
So, Mark, Pete and I have a surprise for you when you turn the stream on.
When we turn the stream on?
When you turn the stream on, you look at it. Pete and I made a surprise for you. It's very exciting.
Okay.
Oh, and wait a second. I have the wrong thing on. Okay, so I'm going to make you do that again. I'm still figuring this producer thing out.
I was going to say.
It's all good. Here we are. Hey, everybody. The show started. Yay. And Pete and I have a surprise for you.
Hey, ballers, welcome to If These Balls Could Talk with the peers that cause thunderous cheers, our strongest steers, and leaders of the frontier that may or may not have come from ChatGPT. Anyway, this is Mark along with John, and we'd like to we'd like to congratulate our producer and brother from another mother, Peter Steffen, who welcomed a beautiful baby boy during our break. Congratulations, Pete and Steph.
Yay. Baby watch is over, and now they're just watching him all the time.
Baby watch.
Yes.
Still our favorite soundbite, though. Anyway,
the best soundbite ever.
As a kind reminder, if you like what you hear or see, please hit that subscribe button. Tonight, we welcome to the podcast Kyle Monsees. Good evening, Kyle.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for coming.
I have a little bit of a gripe. If I could start off with a complaint.
Ooh.
A little bit of So Pete had a child specifically to avoid seeing me.
He did. He did.
I'm a little hurt.
It was the master plan.
It was a master plan 9 months in advance.
Timed this all out, invited me to do this. I was so excited, and then all of a sudden...
So Pete, Kyle, and I were drinking and playing poker, let's be honest. And I was like, hey, shit, Kyle, you should be on the podcast.
And I probably said something like, okay. And I did. Here I am.
Here you are.
Here you are.
Pete is listening. Hey, Pete. Pete, do you like the way your thumbnail turned out?
Yeah. If for those of that are watching the video stream, we do still have Pete located right below me, with a little avatar and a little bundle of joy.
And Steph and Pete's son, cuter than that bundle. Straight up.
Much cuter.
Yes, much cuter.
Anyway, John, how you been?
I am great.
Yeah.
So I've been bitching about my health and being an old man, and it turns out I might just be vitamin D deficient.
Really?
But it's not cancer.
That's a man thing.
Yeah.
That's a man thing. I've been told I have low vitamin D too, so I take a daily vitamin.
You got a low D?
I got a low D. Got a low D.
Mark, I missed you.
I've missed you too. It seems like it's been longer than 2 weeks, but
yeah, we can't ever take a break. It's so sad.
Well, we're gonna have to take a break eventually.
Well, we have to take a Christmas break because it will be very difficult.
We're gonna be taking a long Christmas break.
Yeah, 3 weeks, you guys. But Mark will maybe put out some content on YouTube like he's been doing because now we have our thinger.
Obviously.
So
I've been going backwards actually to download all of the previous episodes and trying to pick the best ones.
Dude, my mental health rant showed so good. I hope somebody watched it. I was like, look, Melanie, I sound so smart.
I think that one played really well on TikTok.
Yeah,
by the way, we are now on TikTok.
Hell yeah, we are. I finally broke Mark's arm.
Oh my god. Oh my, yeah, for the youngins.
For the youths. Well, okay, so Mark found a new toy. And you guys have been seeing it on our socials. It's called Opus Clip. And it's taking our YouTube videos and making them really awesome, really compact, little bite-sized doses of If These Balls Could Talk. And he showed me the first one, and I was like, Mark, this is YouTube or TikTok content. You got to put it out. It is. It's 100% TikTok content. And so each one, thank you everyone, has almost 300 views. So I feel really good about that. And I'm going to get some eyes on the content so you guys can watch and you can download.
Each video I can link to the actual YouTube clip too as well.
Rock and roll. That's
episode,
awesome.
So
do that.
Synergy.
Anyway.
You guys are it's not just a peek behind the curtain with you guys. It's the full
full on.
The full curtain.
The piping is out.
There's no
I love
curtain.
it.
No
We're
curtain.
barely wearing clothes. It's
I'm
just
not.
full on to all access.
No pants.
Great.
How are you,
No
Mark?
pants. No pants. I'm good. Things it's kind of funny. This is the towards the end of the year where things kind of slow down. People take time off. I have not really experienced that though. In fact, today there was this one project that I had to drop. It was a drop everything project that I needed to do, and it took up pretty much my entire day actually. So it doesn't feel like that the holiday season is upon us and that things are going to slow down. But
the winter a good house selling season or a bad house selling season? It's bad, right?
I wouldn't say it's bad, but it's just slower.
Yeah.
I do have a few people I'm working with right now that are really motivated to buy. So it's hopefully we can end this year on a good note for the real estate world.
Rock and roll. That's awesome, man.
Speaking of which, you know what? We're going to get to know our guest a little bit better. Now, Kyle, I hear that you recently purchased your first home, and congratulations.
I did.
So,
Thank you.
as someone who works in real estate, I'm curious about what you thought about the whole process and what made you fall in love with your house. Also, have we experienced any difficulties that involve home ownership?
Oh man.
Also, before you start, Pete, don't yell at me. I accidentally minimized Discord, so that's why it blipped.
Oh man, is he backseat podcasting?
No, I know he's gonna notice, and so I'm just telling him that's what I did. Anyway,
no, it was
Kyle.
He is actually talking to us on the YouTube right now.
I wish I was more informed. I would go there too and watch. But anyway, so to three-part question. Let's see. I found out it is one of those things that people say is complicated, and you just kind of nod your head and say okay, and then you do the process, and it's complicated.
It's a lot involved, right? There's a lot involved.
Yeah. But no, it was really great. We didn't have a super traditional path. We actually bought direct.
Hi, Steph.
Melissa.
Don't interrupt the guest, John.
Yeah,
it's the Wild West here, Kyle. You're gonna have to get strong.
I'm not planning on being invited back, but just in case I am, you got to be nice to me. But no, it's crazy, and yeah, you can unfortunately see behind me. There's a part of a wall currently missing a little bit.
You don't need all your walls. You don't need all your walls.
Knee deep in finding. Yeah,
Isn't demolition fun?
Well, I didn't exactly do that. That wasn't a choice. You know, it's I'm learning a lot, riding that curve, getting handier by the day. And so overall,
that's what happened to Rick, previous guest Rick Marshall. He was like, wow, I'm learning like a lot, and now he's like very good at his house.
YouTube is a wonderful thing.
Meanwhile, I've been in my house
so
for like
much.
20 years, and I haven't done shit to it. So.
Yeah, my dad gave me when we moved in, he gave me the book, like this thick hardcover, manual from, I don't know, late 70s, early 80s that, had everything. And I remember growing up as a kid, like any problem that came up, he'd whip this thing out. And I really wanted to follow in his footsteps, but I said, Dad, I'm going to put this in a drawer. I have YouTube now. I'm just and so far, yeah, my rule has been three YouTube videos. If I can figure out how to do it, I do it. If it's beyond that, then I probably need to get some help.
Or if you need like a license or a permit.
Yeah, I don't have time to go back to school.
You don't have time to get a permit?
Yeah, it turns out.
Pete knows an electrician / carpenter.
Oh.
He works for Buffalo Wings. Yeah, he does.
It's kind of a far from Kyle.
It's fine. Kyle figured it out.
But it's great though. We've thank you for asking. We've very much been enjoying it. Home ownership has been.
I mean, it's a beautiful room that you're in. Right
yeah,
now.
I think plenty of room for all
activities.
Many activities.
Is that a working stove behind you?
Yep. Fireplace,
Nice.
drum kit off this way, and neighbors far enough away for all of this stuff to be used and not have any law enforcement show up. So it's great.
Let us know when the housewarming is. We'll be there.
Oh, thank you. Yes, we need to do that.
Maybe we could record a podcast episode from the basement. I don't know.
I was a little squirrely in the beginning to do remote recording, but I think we should try one.
We should. Why not?
I think it'd be cool. We should do it at the next sporting event we go to, like at someone's house.
All the equipment we have is mobile.
Well, yeah, it sounds good.
With the exception of some of the lights.
I don't know how
one of these days I'm going to take a picture of my setup.
Yeah, I don't have any lights. That's why I look like shit.
Well, you have an overhead light.
I do.
Although I could also see the reflection of the screen in your glasses.
Oh, right there.
Yeah.
If I take them off, I can't read those. So.
Talk about old man.
Hey.
So, is there anything that you wish you knew? You knew then that you know now about buying a home, Kyle?
Oh, jeez.
Or about being someone who owns a home, which is also terrible.
I think maybe I would have taken. I don't know, because it's odd. I feel like the process actually went pretty smoothly. I think maybe what I didn't realize was the time allocation that is required. You start a project, and then you realize that, there's actually 3 secret projects that you need to complete before you complete that project. So
secret projects, amazing.
Yeah. It's buried inside of
that's all home ownership is. It's just a list of projects that it keeps growing and never gets any smaller.
Exactly.
Oh, this
so
wall
I think,
isn't held up by anything. Weird.
Yeah.
Someone made bad choices 10 years ago.
Yeah. That, and my only hope is that one day I'm old and gray and I go to sell this house, and I leave a trail of horribly completed DIY projects that the next owner can uncover and go, oh my God, why did he do it like this?
That's the thing. That's why I can't ever move, because every new owner will hate me, because this house, no one can have it. No one. I think I'll just keep it like my little shame house if I ever move.
Oh no!
I'll store shit in it. I don't know.
No, can't be that bad.
I don't know.
I don't know. Can it?
Maybe that. There we go.
Hey.
All right. Well, that lets us to time, so we're gonna start our next interview question. We do 2 more of these, Kyle. And going into writing these questions, I had a feeling that you got married recently, but as of this August, you celebrated your 2-year wedding anniversary. Congratulations. So you and your lovely wife have been together for 10 years before that, which resonates with me because Mel and I got married after 9 years. Does a long-term relationship change with marriage? And do you have advice for listeners on making 12-year or longer relationships work?
That's a good question. So I think everyone's journey is.
By the way, that was YouTube, Facebook research this morning. Sorry for stalking you.
That's great. You've looked at my Facebook account much more recently than I have.
I have. Anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. So I think everyone's personal journey is probably going to be extremely different. I think for us, we had a foundation where it really didn't. We've had a lot of different phases. We had to do a long distance while we were both doing our masters. We had to do the pandemic right after we moved in together. So we've experienced a lot, and so no, I don't think marriage suddenly magically flips a switch if you have that type of foundation. As far as long term, at least, I feel like I have no authority on commenting. I don't have a degree. I'm not a counselor, but
Well, 12 years of being together is certainly a pretty good accomplishment, especially these days. So
in the end of the day,
pat yourself on the back for that one.
Listen, at the end, so 1997, Mel and I are 26 years in, and at the end of the day, living with another person is hard. Period.
Yeah, no,
hard stop, right? Because they're not you, and even if 26 years in, they're a lot you. They're not you all the way, and you guys have different opinions on things, and so learning to talk together and be honest and talk about, this is the thing that I'm learning now, talk about the things that bother you, even if it's uncomfortable, because bottling that stuff, just like saying, oh, I can handle that, that doesn't last. It doesn't last. And eventually you're just bitter, right? And you're angry. And then you're like, why are you so angry? Well, because you do this and this and this and this and this and this. And so, no, but that's why you have to talk about it. You have to get it out in the open. You have to work through it. And I think that's, at least 40-year-old John, I think that's what that's the advice that I would give personally.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. That's, I was going to say communication is one, it's so cheesy, but it's the number one thing. Like if you're not talking, if you're not listening, and actually empathizing and trying to understand like what your partner's needs are, and expressing, where you're at. And it's a constant journey, right? It's not like one day you suddenly have it all figured out. Like, you got to keep that dialogue going constantly, for sure. So I think my maybe that's 2 for 2. Everyone go have a conversation. be open.
Yeah. And no, talk about your stuff and own your stuff, right? Like,
oh yeah, for sure. Like if you're not ready to like fully admit like what your strengths and weaknesses are, and be like, also like admitting when you're wrong. Like unfortunately, there's 100% a toxic, enforcement, like for men of, you got to be tough, you got to prove something, like
I'm never wrong, right?
And it's like, it's, what is more manly than learning and figuring out that you can do better.
Hell yeah.
And then actually doing better. So,
That's a good point.
Yeah. I think, taking a step back 100%, like I need to do better at this. I was wrong. Like those things are okay to do, and it's healthy to do that. And it could 100% save a relationship from breaking down, for sure.
And if you can't be honest with your partner, then who can you be honest with? I mean, seriously.
Yeah. And honest with yourself. Like, how can you be honest with other people if you're not being honest with yourself? So it's a layered process.
I think the biggest struggle for me in this is regarding my relationship would be to not take everything personally. Like a chronic pleaser, right? And I've been, right? You guys have all heard about my Italian family and my growing up with stress and guilt and all those things. So I was always a chronic pleaser. I still am a chronic pleaser. But like understanding that just because something is negative doesn't mean it's your fault, and it doesn't mean someone's saying it's your fault. So that was a challenge, and that was something that I probably have taken the last 10 or 15 years to get over. And I'm not over it yet, for sure. Like if Mel was listening, she'd probably laugh to even talk about it. But I understand, right? I get it. Like I get it. So we're getting there.
All right. After 41 episodes, we're always love to talk about new things on the episodes or on the podcast. Now I hear that you are an avid tabletop gamer. So over the past 10 years, the quality and complexity of board games have certainly come a long way. So tell us some of your favorite games, and what is maybe the weirdest one you've ever tried out?
Okay, so I do love tabletop games. I've been very, very fortunate. Some very dear friends of mine. We've been playing in a group for probably around 10 years, probably more. I'm realizing I'm getting more old. And a lot of Dungeons and Dragons. Big fans of Call of Cthulhu. And recently, I'll throw a plug out there. Anyone who's interested in this stuff, we've been playing a system called Dungeon World, and it's been a ton of fun. It's much less rule heavy. You kind of you roll 2d6s to figure out pretty much everything, and it's got a huge emphasis just on the role-playing aspect and the story aspect.
That's super cool. I love story-based tabletop. That's great.
Yeah, because there's nothing worse when you're playing Dungeons and Dragons and you roll a critical hit and then you go to roll your damage and you get a 1. It's I want to do a cool wrestling move where I pick somebody up and I suplex them, and then there's not exactly a roll for suplex in Dungeons and Dragons, right?
We have to like combine different roles, right?
Yeah, exactly, and that could get kind of tedious and not so fun if it's like, well, roll strength, but then also roll athletics, and then roll, and so.
Well, you have a tendency, at least when I've played D&D, to just get caught up in the minutia.
Yeah.
Like the rules, and now you're like, the rules are important, but also, you're fighting dragons with a magical sword. You're like,
yeah, you just want to have fun. You want to escape, and you want your players, when you're running a game, you want everybody to just be able to do cool stuff and like enjoy themselves and be the hero, right? So that's been really great. And then as far as board games, let's see, what can I plug? I do love Scythe, but it's so complicated. It takes forever to set up, forever to play, so I don't play it too much.
You know what we found during COVID? The group that I play with, we did pretty consistently a virtual game night.
Yeah,
and we played. There was a whole set. I think there was one company, Asmodee maybe, that bought like all the really good tabletop games and digitized them. And so there's a Scythe on Steam, produced by Asmodee, and that's the only way I play Scythe now, because it's also the only way I play. What's the one about Mars, Kyle? Tell me.
Terraforming Mars?
Terraforming Mars. The only way I play Terraforming Mars, because all that, like, 20,000 pieces, 20-minute setup, it just does.
It's tough. Yeah. It's hard enough to get people together to, find the time to play the game. Then when you have to find like a half an hour just to set everything up, it can also take a lot of the enjoyment out of it. Sure. So, for sure. But yeah, I love tabletop games.
Mark, when was the last when was the last board game you played?
The last board game I played.
And the last board game Mark played, because I don't think Mark plays board games.
Oh, I used to play board games all the time. I would not want to say, I believe maybe the last one I played was Catan.
Nice.
Yeah, I remember playing Settlers back in our day too.
We played so much Settlers. So Kyle, our fraternity, Mark and I were in the same fraternity. Pete wasn't, but he should have been. So we went on these retreats, and it's like fraternity things, but we'd always bring Settlers, and we'd always get in these knockdowns over like Settlers minutia, and it was really fun. Those things were awesome. Anytime you can get like 15 of your favorite dudes in a small cabin and be freezing and play a board game, it's like, you're like, this is good.
You're speaking my
also,
language.
A little smelly, but whatever. Smelly adjacent.
We're a bunch of boys.
But I guess the only thing left for you guys to do is set up a Patreon and then have a Let's Play podcast running on the side.
Interesting. I actually know someone that does something very similar to that.
That's a great fucking idea, Kyle.
Made you think.
Hey, if anyone who's listening, who listens in the future, has an interest in that, let us know, and we will for sure do that, because that sounds really fun.
John, could you do that and produce a show at the same time?
I cannot. Guys who've seen how this show goes, I can barely produce this show, but...
John, you're doing a great job, though. You remember
the show is
record.
Up.
Yeah,
the show is up and running.
I'm having fun.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's worth anything.
I have a cool Merry Christmas. I have a cool Merry Christmas shirt on.
Yeah,
I do.
Nice.
That's my guy.
I keep forgetting that this is also a visual podcast, so I'm like, oh, John's just showing us his shirt, and everyone has to use their imagination. But no,
no,
that's fine. I don't care. I do care. I really care for our download listeners. But you should also just go watch the YouTube. It's really fun.
Absolutely. Watch us on YouTube
or on TikTok.
www.youtube.com/iftheseballspod.
TikTok.
Yeah.
You want to know something about really weird about TikTok? I've been like you, Mark. I've been really like very slow on TikTok because I was like, it's just not for me. And so I downloaded TikTok because I told Mark I would if he put us on TikTok, and I really like it. It's really fun. I see what the whole hubbub is about. And yes, I sound old.
Do you get caught like just scrolling videos all for a while?
Holy shit! Everything's so good.
Then you realize it's like a half hour or an hour later.
Like a long time.
I wouldn't say everything is good.
Well, you gotta curate. You gotta curate your social media better, Mark.
What'd you say?
It's too good. It's engineered to make you sit there until all of a sudden you're covered in potato chip crumbs and it's 5 a.m. and
It's not an
I
accident they
personally,
embedded a store.
oh, yikes!
Not an accident.
I'll admit I'm the oldest man here because I will not touch this stuff. I got rid of Reddit.
John forced me to TikTok.
I can't do it because my brain I'll get sucked right on in and then I'm gone. You'll never.
By the way,
see me
Mark
again.
Kyle's like 10 years younger than us.
Doesn't sound it. All right, everyone. Shall we kick off this shindig?
Hell yeah.
Okay.
All right. So, sorry, I have to scroll. So now touchdowns are a big reason why the NFL audience loves to watch American football, primarily due to the fantasy points and the pure entertainment value of the end zone celebrations. Now, the NFL has certainly adjusted the rules to help offense as well. Now, despite this, we have actually seen a decline in overall scoring this season. In fact, points have declined for the past 3 seasons altogether, and this year is on pace to be the lowest since 2009. Now, this has also caught the eye of resident old man Tom Brady, who has expressed his old man get off my lawn beliefs, saying that there's, quote, a lot of mediocrity, unquote, in today's NFL, and he thinks the officiating hasn't helped. So everyone, why do we feel scoring is down, and is Tom Brady right that officiating has turned the NFL mediocre?
I mean, the officiating, and shout out to my good buddy Pete, the officiating in the Bills-Eagles game this past week was very...
That is not why they lost the game, first of all.
It is not why they lost the game, because they had many opportunities to win the game, which they did not. However, it was bad. And
I will say they got hosed on a few calls. Definitely more than the Eagles did.
I just watched a breakdown of how bad it was, and I didn't watch the game, but they mentioned in overtime there was a incompletion that should have been a fumble, and actually was a fumble in another game this week. The Chargers game, there was 2 steps and a drop. It was a punch out, and that was a fumble, but it wasn't a fumble for the Eagles, and they did score on that drive to win the game.
They did.
Maybe. I mean, that's not the question.
I say that should have been an incomplete pass.
Yeah, I didn't.
The way that I know the rule is it should have been an incomplete pass. But I think the reason why the Bills really lost, not because the officiating, because James Cook didn't catch that wide open pass.
Yeah.
He had a touchdown. Had he caught that, the Bills would have won the game.
And Jake Elliott pretty much was a superhero.
Oh my God! That's 62 yards?
62 into a crosswind in the rain.
That's amazing. They actually listed a stat. He has never missed a field goal in like the fourth quarter and overtime.
Woo! That was sharp.
The man is clutch.
I don't know. I think probably defenses are better. I think that defensive players are really amazing in the modern NFL.
Oh my God, the modern day NFL defensive lineman is just like super jacked.
And I think we talk about it a lot. The guy, the 250-pound man who can run a 4.4, who is literally like armored 250-pound man who runs 15 miles an hour. You're just like, what am I getting hit by? And I mean, I think that's part of the reason there's so many injuries too.
I feel like they're getting smarter too. Like they're getting better at disguising what they're really trying to run as a defense. I mean, when you see 8 giant men at the line of scrimmage and they all look like they're about to kill you.
I mean, they
so
do.
you
their job is to kill you.
But sometimes they don't. Sometimes they just back off, but they look like they're gonna just gonna run right over you.
Let me ask you guys a question real quick. So,
sure.
Do you think it comes down to improved defensive coordination, or do you think it's the training or the programs that players are coming up through? I mean, what do you think is really contributing the most to the improvement in defense across the league?
I think it's a little bit of both. Now, keep in mind this isn't really a new thing with the whole scoring being down. So it's very cyclic in the NFL. Offense finds a way to score more points, and then defense catches up to it. So back in 2009 was kind of around the time that Wildcat was a thing. Remember that? Like when that first came out, no one could stop the Wildcat, and then everyone figured out how to stop the Wildcat. And you don't really see that being called in NFL games.
Nobody can stop the brotherly shove. And actually, nobody can do the brotherly shove either, which is really odd.
Nobody can do yeah.
So I think it's all based the fact that Jason Kelce is a monster.
Right? I think it's the fact that defense is too like. There's a way to stop the brotherly shove. You essentially have to do it from defense.
Yeah.
You essentially need 2 layers of of grown ass men just pushing on each other. But there's a way to essentially go against that is you fake the brotherly shove. You all of a sudden you go up, you go back, and then you pass the ball. Yeah. I think people are kind of afraid of fake brotherly shove too.
Yeah. I also saw Jalen Hurts squat 600 pounds recently. So
he's he's a very powerful man.
Yes. So,
but you're absolutely right. It's Jason Kelce, but it's also Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, I think it's Jason Kelce and Jalen Hurts because they're both very large, very strong men. I think the quality of the NFL is very high. I think that there are players in this modern NFL, like the Tyreek Hills, that are faster and better than anything we've ever seen. I mean,
there's a lot more motion going on, pre-motion snaps.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, pre-snap motion going on.
I mean, like the top 5 wide receivers in the NFL right now, like Tyreek Hill, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase. I mean, those guys could run circles around guys 10 years ago. I mean, are they not scoring because... I think they're probably not scoring, honestly, because defenses have the internet. I mean, it's fucking stupid, but the ability for a defense to look at plays with like big data and Amazon Web Services and just like being able to look at like the arm angles, like exactly the arm angle from a video is amazing when you think about it from a computing
Pete picked up on my pre-motion snap snafu. He says the Bills were doing too many pre-motion snaps, if you know what I mean.
It happens to everyone, just for the record.
Oh, man.
Oh, Pete. I miss you, Pete.
That's a good place to end.
So can I ask you guys a broader question? So I have to, before we get any further, I have to admit I'm a fraud and a charlatan, and I have no right being on a sports podcast. I did warn John of this. So
well, it's okay because I wrote like 2 sports questions because I knew that you said
that.
I didn't actually realize this. I wrote like all football questions this week, and I did not really mean to do that.
Well, so the good news is I'm not clueless. The bad news is much like Chat GPT, if you will, the information that I was trained on is cut off at like circa 2010. Like
2021, I think.
Kyle,
are you an AI?
Kyle, you're real. Is that a real house behind you?
It's not.
No, all I could say is the folks at Microsoft are doing great work. And I get paid to say that.
Microsoft is a sponsor.
Yeah. Yeah. You guys need to aim higher, I think. I think you could probably.
I think we need a sponsor.
Mark needs to call Southern Tier. We've been talking about it for a full year.
You told me not to go to Southern Tier.
No, I didn't. I just said they.
Oh, you definitely said that.
Do anything. Anyway,
all right. But Kyle, don't worry about that because while we do ask a lot, well, I guess I'm going to be asking more sports questions. We can spin it in the fact. Actually, the question I have after this is it's a football question, but we can spin it.
Your input in question 1 was wonderful, and I am not concerned.
Anyway,
I am not.
So, next topic, right?
It is time to do the next topic. All right. You guys love that, right? That was good?
Love it.
I enjoyed it. I don't know.
All right, so we're going to talk about the thing I've been waiting to talk about all week, okay? I wouldn't call either of the wins impressive, but at least the Giants are fun to watch again.
Oh, my God.
While the best thing they did on offense this past weekend beating the Patriots is turn the ball over only once. The pride of Livingston, New Jersey, has somehow led the Giants to their first winning streak of the year, throwing 4 touchdowns, which is more than good old Danny Dimes, and no interceptions. Going into their bye week and coming back for week 14 with a somewhat healthy Tyrod Taylor, does the boy from Jersey, Tommy DeVito, get to keep the job? And even more importantly, what does the QB situation in New York look like next season?
I love how. All right, listen. The two
you can say it because I know what's going on, but
two opponents that you've beaten are the Commanders and the Patriots.
Hey.
Do you think Danny Dimes would have lost to those two franchises?
I honestly do. Do.
Come on.
No, I honestly do. And here's
the way that they won, though. The way that they won, though, like one of us probably could have beaten both of those teams. Just give it a Saquon.
They scored a bunch in the Commanders game. The Patriots game. The Patriots game was sad.
That was awful. That was awful. It was like watching two Pop Warner teams.
What did you say, Kyle?
I've seen you guys both individually deadlift 600 pounds, so I know that you guys could have done that game and probably won for sure.
No, but you think about it, okay? Let's think about it. Okay, so we're on.
I don't want to think about it.
This is week 13, so we're 12 games in. Tommy DeVito has now started 3 of them. Obviously, he lost against the Cowboys. We're not talking about that. But in 2 games now, so not the Cowboys, he's thrown 7 touchdowns. In 9 games, Danny Dimes threw 3 with the same team.
Let's see what the kid who lives on his mom's couch can do against this formidable team. Okay.
I mean, okay? we're playing Philly twice in the home stretch. So I expect
who are they playing this week?
They are on bye this week because everyone is on bye this week. Everyone. There's like 6 teams.
I'm watching a game right now. They're not on bye. But.
No, shut up. But and the premise of the question, I see.
Does he deserve? He deserve to start? Yes, he does.
I see the movie. I mean, listen, okay. We have an undrafted Italian kid from New Jersey, who has made the 2023 Giants fun to watch again, and he has. Empirically, people are excited. They are.
I see the movie, he says. I see the movie.
Directed.
I do see the movie.
Who's gonna play Tommy DeVito?
Clearly, Mark Wahlberg. Clearly.
Well, Mark Wahlberg's a lefty.
Also, check it out. They play and defeat the evil Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl. That's the finale. I mean, like,
that's so gonna happen.
It's wonderful.
That's so gonna happen.
It's wonderful. I should make AI write it.
That's definitely fan fiction right there. Yeah, make AI write it. Yeah, they're gonna beat the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Please, maybe it's Super Bowl 147. They will.
Do you think he starts week 14? Let's keep it simple.
I do. He's deserved it.
I think he does deserve it. I think Tyrod Taylor is garbage, and I think
Tyrod Taylor's not garbage. He's got.
I'm great to disagree.
He's got the worst luck in the world, though. I mean, he got no. Think about his history, and Pete can back me up on this because he was on the Bills. He got hurt, and I think that's when Josh Allen got in, right? I'm pretty sure that's how it happened. Pete can.
Isn't he the one whose knee exploded?
Don't deny my knowledge, Pete.
Isn't he the one whose knee exploded on the Vikings?
No, I don't believe so. But he got like some kind of cortisone shot. And when he was on the Chargers, and because someone like pierced him in somewhere wrong with the needle, whatever like that, he had to miss a game, and that's when Justin Herbert took over.
That's crazy.
That is a truth fact. Then I do remember that.
Tommy friggin' DeVito. Tommy touchdowns.
I was wrong. Pete has corrected me. Tyler was let go prior to them drafting Josh Allen.
Look, Pete knows the emoji. There was an article this week that the friggin' Italian emoji. I'm so excited about this fucking guy.
But there was something else that happened with Tyrod Taylor. I think that it was like some weird injury that he got, and someone else slipped in, and
it sucks.
The starting quarterback.
He's a handsome boy. It sucks he lives on his mom's couch, but they don't pay league minimum. Isn't a ton of cash.
Exactly.
Isn't a ton of cash.
It's more than we make.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. We're out of time, by the way.
You're out of time.
That was fucking great. I was so excited about that topic. I
love you posting all of these Tommy DeVito memes online too. Oh my God, you're like the president of the Tommy DeVito fan club.
I would be. He's the most Italian person ever on professional sports. Adam Vinatieri and Tommy DeVito could be friends, right? They probably know each other. I mean, I'm Italian, by the way. I can say that.
I think they've got professional Italian teams. They might be, I don't know.
That play American football? Meds.
Oh, I thought you just meant in general.
No,
I don't know.
There are a lot of Italian people who play football. Anyway, Mark, you want to do a thing with the stuff? Question.
Ooh,
by the way, who's winning the football game?
The Seahawks are actually beating the Cowboys right now.
No good. Playing that defense.
Oh, there's a flag. Although I was really weird. I was watching the end of the first half, and I swear the Seahawks scored 3 touchdowns on the same drive.
By the way,
they kept scoring, and then it got called back. Anyway,
the end of my fantasy season has completely fallen apart. Jonathan Taylor is injured. Justin Jefferson is on non-injury bye. Tank Dell is gonna play, but he's probably injured too. This fucking season is insane. I gotta say.
Hey John, ready?
Yeah,
I'm gonna play the world's tiniest violin for the next topic.
Do it.
So, Frank Reich was once celebrated as an offensive mastermind and was partially responsible for making the Philadelphia Eagles a Super Bowl champion with not-so-future Hall of Famers Carson Wentz and Nick Foles. Now, unfortunately, Reich finds himself parting ways with Carolina Panthers after owner David Tepper decided that 11 games of subpar football was enough reason to let him go. So picture this. This might be the ChatGPT part. ChatGPT. We're not that drunk. Now,
We're not that drunk.
The architect of what was supposed to be a high-octane offense, staring in disbelief as his playbook, once revered as a treasure map to touchdowns, now seems more like a guidebook to nowhere. So the Panthers, who had hoped for a season sparkling with victories with their number 1 pick Bryce Young, instead find themselves with more questions than answers, as they have the worst record in the NFL. Now, they can't even feel optimistic for next year, at least for getting next year's number 1 draft pick, because they sold those rights to the Bears.
Bears.
Last year's number pick. So, everyone, do we feel that Frank Reich got a fair chance in Carolina?
To be honest, I don't think he did. And I just read an article on this.
11 games!
No, but I just read an article on this that Tepper wanted Bryce Young, and actually Frank Reich. Everyone was sure Frank Reich was going to draft C.J. Stroud. They're actually sure about it. And Tepper, who is the owner, right? He was just like, nah, we like Bryce Young, the guy who's like maybe 5'11", who maybe isn't very good at football. Mm-hmm. Miles Sanders is having like a serious subpar season. Miles Sanders' flaws that were in Philadelphia are being shown as a number 1 guy in Carolina. So bad that Chuba Hubbard has the job back again. It's Chuba Hubbard's team again.
I love that name, Chuba Hubbard.
I do too. I don't think, and all the moves they made and the money they spent, I don't think the Panthers got any better.
Oh, they definitely didn't. So the end of last year was kind of it brought a lot of optimism in Charlotte, because they actually played all right the second half of the year, even though they did lose a lot. But they had a pretty good defense last year. The defense hasn't shown up this year, and now Frank Reich is more of an offensive mind. So there's reason to believe that the defense isn't really his responsibility, but he's the head coach, so he's responsible for the whole team. Mm-hmm. But the Panthers as a whole have just not looked very good. And you're absolutely right about David Tepper wanted Bryce Young, and Frank Reich actually wanted C.J. Stroud, or he at least wanted a tall quarterback. And we will talk about this maybe in a future topic.
And C.J. Stroud, clearly in the MVP discussion, I'm just saying. He really is.
Save all that discussion, because, again, we may or may not be talking about it later. But 11 games, not even a full season. Now, Nathaniel Hackett had the same thing happen to him last year. So it's kind of the same situation too. You have a crappy ass team, and they just look like they don't even want to play, and they don't even want to be on the field. So maybe it is the right move to do that. But in a lot of sense, did he really deserve this job in the first place? He did a terrible job in Indianapolis.
It's not wrong.
And he got fired last year from Indy, and all of a sudden he gets a new job. I mean, that's when you're paying these coaches guaranteed millions of dollars. maybe you should do a little bit more due diligence, right?
Can I also ask a question? Right. Sorry,
Sure.
Again, coming
Kyle,
from a place of
honestly, here's the
ignorance.
deal. You don't ever have to ask a question. Just
Oh, all right.
Just
You're too-
talk.
you're too nice.
fine.
You're too
Here's
nice
a
for this show,
question.
honestly.
So Nathaniel Hackett, New York Jets, right? Correct.
Yes.
Okay.
Good job.
And 11 games he got fired last season. How are the Jets doing this season? Not
Well.
great, right?
So he was the head coach of the Broncos last year.
And now
Oh,
He got
okay.
fired. He got fired, I think, after 13 games.
I
But
got
then,
confused
but
there.
then he got hired as the Jets' offensive coordinator.
he's
to
part
woo
of the
Aaron
Aaron Rodgers
Johnson.
project.
Yes.
Oh, that's been going great too. I've heard.
Well,
He's
Aaron
coming back.
Rodgers
is-
He's coming back this
hurt.
season.
Well,
of it.
Let me. So how
Because of his
how are
magic.
the Broncos? How are the Broncos doing?
The
this-
post-
To be
Potion?
honest, the Broncos are doing great.
Oh,
They
okay.
didn't start off very well. They looked like the worst team ever. They gave up 70 points to the Dolphins.
Yeah, but they
But
are
they've
five
won
in a row
games
now. Yeah.
They've won 5 games in a
Okay.
row.
The Broncos look great.
Okay.
Sean McVay might have moved himself into the coach of the
Sean
year
Payton.
discussion. Or
Sean
Payton.
Payton.
Yeah, Sean Payton might have moved himself
Okay.
into the coach of the year discussion. Honestly, he has.
Okay. Yeah, because I was just curious, right? Because 11 games, it's just for anything. I don't think that's a large enough sample size to really make an assessment of because there's so many factors, and to direct all. Of
This
the
has
criticism
been
to
the
head
week
coach
of
seems a little-
firing head coaches and offensive coordinators for teams that are underperforming. What is
Yeah,
it?
there's
The
not usually this many midseason moves. There's
Like,
there's
a
not.
lot.
Josh McDaniels got fired too. Now he got a couple seasons to do something, but he didn't. He did nothing. And I'm waiting for Belichick to hire him again.
I think that
Do you guys think technology has something to do with this? Because there's just so much more data that folks are like, well, we can just do the assessment right now like that, and we
No.
can make these decisions more quickly. Do you think that has any
I
impact?
think it has more to do with the fact that of the background that these guys are. Because keep in mind, these are billionaires. They made lots of money, either on Wall Street or just somewhere where you have to have more of a cutthroat attitude. So if something is not working, in Wall Street, you usually you chop off the head right then and there, and that's what's kind of happening with NFL coaches right now. It happened in on the Mets as well. Who we like to refer to as Uncle Steve. What's his last name? Is it Cohen? Steve Cohen?
Steve Cohen.
Yeah. He tried to make all these big moves and sign all of these big free agent guys, and he overspent on them. And the Mets by far had the highest payroll of in all of Major League Baseball. And then he was like, "Well, that was a bad idea," so he just started cutting people left and right.
Yeah.
The bottom line.
I don't know really because you got to fire somebody, right?
Do you?
I mean, if a team who
Don't
should
you
be
deserve some time to get it right?
if
though?
a team who should be better, the Bills, maybe not the Panthers yet, but if a team that should be better isn't, it is someone's fault. I mean,
the Bills are a different story.
These are like $500 million commodities, right? I mean, if you are not managing your giant, essentially hedge fund correctly, you get fired. I mean, you do. So why is it different?
Yeah. I guess the way that I think about it, Sky, because I have to make some type of parallel in my brain, right? I think about it like from the perspective, like a music industry perspective of like you have an artist and their first album doesn't sell as well. Like if it was today, you'd cut them immediately. You'd just drop them, right? Like Bruce Springsteen wouldn't exist in today's music industry, perhaps because they would have just said, okay, one album didn't sell, you're done, get out of here, right? So I guess I think about like there are opportunities to make course corrections to improve, and again, think about all of the different variables. So I don't know, it's just it seems like it's a tough call to fire within an 11 game period. Not saying that somebody doesn't need to get blamed. However, you're not letting things naturally progress to an extent, perhaps.
Kyle, I like that comparison, but I don't, because the music industry, while you do invest a lot of money into the artist up front, I mean, the record companies, they're not paying out these artists for the next like 4 or 5 years. Like if something didn't pan out and you want to cut them, then you cut them, and there's pretty much no harm, no foul from a record company perspective. Meanwhile, with NFL owners, coaches are getting multi-million-dollar deals that are guaranteed money. So Frank Reich, I think, had like a few years left on his deal. Josh McDaniels definitely had a few years left on his deal, and they're gonna essentially make millions of dollars just sitting at home now.
I'm not here to defend millionaires. I want to make that very clear.
I mean, you still gotta win, and we are way out of time. Way out of time for the next topic. Yeah. So let's bring it to something that Kyle could talk about. Hey. So in odd music news, Hall & Oates are embroiled in a legal battle.
I heard about this.
That has led to Hall getting a restraining order against his former music partner, Oates. Hall has been recently very disparaging about the connection between him and Oates, going on to diminish the collaborative aspect of their number one hit, Kiss My List, saying he was responsible for all the harmonies, even though Hall was credited as a co-producer. So, with the assumption of this lawsuit and subsequent restraining order are because of the sudden anger over creative input and clearly money, what's going on with Hall & Oates, and why do we care?
Well, that's a nostalgia thing. I mean, Hall & Oates, they were one of the dynamic duos of the 80s, right? I definitely remember listening to a bunch of Hall & Oates songs when I was younger, growing up. And what I don't understand, too, so it was Hall that issued the lawsuit against Oates, right?
Yes.
So Daryl
And
Hall,
the restraining order.
And the restraining order, excuse me. So I don't know.
Why are my 80s dads fighting?
Yeah. I heard about the story, but I don't know all that much about it. But Daryl Hall has like some kind of thing that he isn't he have like a YouTube show where he invites a bunch of musicians to his place isn't in upstate New York too, and they essentially it's a jam session between them, and I'm sure that gets him paid, right? So why is he all of a sudden worried about money? I don't know. Can either of you two enlighten me what's going on with this?
Welcome to live from Daryl's house. I did not know about Mark. How do you know about this random YouTube show? It's amazing.
I know lots of things.
You do know lots of things.
Lots of useless crap.
Go ahead, Kyle. What's up?
No, so first off, it is great that show. There was some later breaking news that I caught on this today. So apparently, as the legal dispute has been unfolding, it was revealed apparently Oates was planning to sell a portion of a joint venture that they had. Partnership
related to their music or not related to their music?
Related to their music.
Okay.
So it was basically like a partnership, a body set up to oversee trademarks, music royalties, things like that.
Oh, so was it like selling the library a lot like what like Tina Turner did and Paul McCartney did?
Yeah, I think it was related to getting the song catalog, and that's been, you guys have seen that pick up, multiple high profile things. Obviously there's the Scooter Braun, Taylor Swift high profile example, but lots of folks are, thinking about well, let me offload my catalog. The idea is, hey, I'll purchase it up front and then I'll make my money back based on the royalties that come in from streaming, like over the next decade or whatever, right? So I think that it seems like that's what's going on, perhaps. And Hall felt uninformed that Oates was going to do this and took some
So, like, Hall's lawyers were telling him, hey, you need to do something because he's trying to be shady.
Who knows? I don't know. I don't.
It sounds to me that Johnny Oates needs money.
Maybe.
Or he just doesn't care anymore, and he's like, well, what do I want? Rights to, my IP or a bucket of cash? But it does look like, unfortunately, it's coming down to money.
Maybe he needs to send his grandkids to college.
It's a shame because I feel very, very strongly that Private Eyes is a perfect album. That album
I've heard that before. I've actually heard that before.
Has everything that you want. First off, Private Eyes is a great song.
That is a good song.
I Can't Go for That, right? Did It in a Minute.
No,
was Maneater on that album too?
I can't.
Was Maneater on that album? Was Maneater on that album?
Was not on that album. That
Okay.
is a wonderful single. I think the sleeper hit from that album is 100% Head Above Water.
Yes.
Everyone that has not heard that song, go listen to it. It's just perfect, right? So
I think I'm gonna listen to Hall & Oates
really
on Amazon Music
to
tonight.
See the back and forth. I'm sorry, what was that, John?
I think I'm gonna listen to Hall & Oates on Amazon Music tonight. Since we live in the modern times. Welcome to the world of tomorrow. You can listen to anything at any point and any time, and I can.
I don't need to put a record on.
No,
I'm confused.
No, you just ask your Alexa to turn it on. You shut up.
Oh, she might.
As Alexa's always listening, John.
She turned her stupid little light on, and I thought she was gonna fuck around.
And you've been talking about Hall & Oates this whole time now. Now your whole your newsfeed on Facebook is gonna be nothing but Hall & Oates stuff.
You know what's gonna the really fucked up thing is I'm gonna go downstairs tomorrow and there's gonna be like a Hall & Oates splash page on my Amazon show.
Probably. And
it's gonna be like Hall & Oates, like it's gonna talk about the news article, it's gonna talk about the restraining order, and I'm gonna be like, fuck you, Alexa, you were listening. Jesus Christ. Yeah, you heard me. It's right there. It's right there.
You're super lucky that you've got your headphones on, or the rest of this conversation would just be me trying to work Alexa into sentences and ruining your podcast.
Do you guys remember? Okay, when like a year after all like the voice assistants came out, and like there were commercials that were trying to activate your Alexa on television.
Xbox on.
Oh yeah,
Xbox on.
That was amazing. What a great marketing campaign.
But if I could add one last thing, I do think it brings up a broader conversation about where the industry is going with ownership of rights, both the actual song and the ownership of the actual recording, and how artists are justly paid for the creative content that they're creating. So, while we think about, Hall & Oates and those guys might not need money, these types of issues do impact other artists that aren't,
them
mega millionaires. So,
yeah,
that aren't them. So
I think licensing in general for IP is a really, really slippery slope.
Yeah, especially with AI. And that's a can of worms that I won't open.
Do it.
No, I couldn't. No, don't make me.
By the way, Pete has said that he always thought Hall & Oates sounded more like a breakfast cereal, and he loves cereal.
This is a huge missed branding opportunity for them. They'll never do it now
because they hate each other.
Yeah, so they're maybe not on speaking terms.
I mean, yeah. We're probably not going to get the reunion tour, you guys. I'm sorry.
They'll make up.
Will they? What reason do they have?
Everybody feels a little more permanent.
They're both very old.
Exactly.
And we're out of time.
All right. I've got a next topic for you. I think I changed the song enough that we won't get sued. Anyway, sorry, Johnny Oates. So let's go back in time.
So great, Mark. Made me so happy.
I want that to be my alarm in the morning. I want to wake up to that every single morning.
All right, so let's go back in time in April when it was a glorious feeling in North Carolina as they anxiously awaited the Panthers to choose their new franchise quarterback. Imagine this, though. Picture who I think should be the next big bad in Marvel movies, the smarmy NFL commissioner Roger Goodell, saying these words. With the first overall pick of the 2023 NFL Draft, the Carolina Panthers choose C.J. Stroud from Ohio State University.
Alternate reality.
So Frank Reich gets the tall, mobile quarterback that he likes to deal with, and D'Amico Ryans gets presumably Bryce Young. So everyone, do we feel that if last year's top picks were reversed... last drafts, top picks were reversed, that we would still think CJ Stroud is the better quarterback.
I don't know. I mean, I think a lot of the fact is that the Texans have a better O-line and better receivers, right? Don't they?
Yeah. So yeah, essentially, who would CJ Stroud throw to on the Panthers? He has Adam Thielen.
That's it.
I can't name another Panthers.
I just looked it up.
What?
DJ Shark and Jonathan Mingo. I don't know who the fuck that is. Yeah, DJ Shark and Adam Thielen. Boo.
But Frank Reich would have gotten the quarterback that he wanted.
Well, I mean, and it would have been better. I think that
would Bryce Young be as successful as CJ Stroud is in Houston?
He's only 5'10". I don't think so. I think Bryce Young isn't suited for the NFL. He doesn't look good. He's not making good decisions. He's not getting good vision. He's not making good throws. I mean, he just doesn't look like a good quarterback.
But he looked like a good quarterback when he was at Alabama, but then again, he had two really good wide receivers with him.
Yeah. And also, and this is the thing that we learn, right? They still do they still do the college 32nd team in the NFL game? Like Alabama plays the worst team in the NFL and gets their ass kicked every year.
They've never done that.
It sounds so fun.
It's always hypothetical.
So fun, though. Anyway, I mean, the thing about the NFL, comparatively, and the thing about most professional sports versus college sports is that the defenses are much, much better. Much, much better.
So much better. Stronger, faster.
Stronger, faster.
More smarter.
More smarterer. And taller. Hey, taller.
And taller.
Than your little 5'10" ass. I mean, I'm only 5'6", right? I'm a short man, but I can never play quarterback in the NFL.
Doug Flutie was a successful NFL quarterback, listed at 5'9".
Okay, so I don't need permission to ask questions. I've got a question.
You're so kind, Kyle.
John, what do you have against short kings?
I don't have anything.
Why?
I just remember being tall. Right? I was tall. I have been 5'6" ish.
You were tall at one point?
I was 5'6" ish from maybe 9.5. So I was tall for a second, and being tall was great until I wasn't tall, and now I'm not tall, and I realized not being tall put me at an empirical disadvantage in sports because I used to be good at sports. And besides being a little fat and 42, now I'm bad at sports. And it happened when I got
a little bit taller.
It happened when I got short.
Oh, but you have the rights to that song? That's good.
Yeah, it's fine. It's only a couple seconds. And no one's listening.
Oh, all right.
No one's
that's
listening.
A relief.
It's a relief. We can do whatever we want. The FCC can't
3
find
seconds.
us. Sorry,
3 seconds.
FCC. So I think that Bryce Young has to be better than CJ Stroud because he is 4 inches shorter than him.
I mean, if Bryce Young had better receivers to throw to aside from Adam Thielen, he might be a little bit better. If he had Devontae Smith again, and who was the other one that he had?
I mean, let's think about it though,
who the
right?
other one had.
Nico Collins last year was fine, but he wasn't the Nico Collins that he is this year. He wasn't.
True.
He wasn't. And Devin
and do you think Tank Dell would be would be as good of a wide receiver?
I don't know, because he's also kind of a tiny little man.
He's tiny.
He's a little bite-sized little guy.
He's still taller than us, but he's tiny.
Comparatively, right? And so I think that making a one-for-one comparison is a little bit difficult, honestly.
Would Frank Reich would have gotten fired, you think, if CJ Stroud was his quarterback?
I think they would have been better. I think that would the Carolina Panthers this season with one-for-one change be what are they 6-4, 7-3? The Texans, or more than that?
I believe they're 6-5.
6-5. Would they be knocking on the door, maybe in playoff contention? I don't know.
I don't think so.
I don't think we can talk about that because it's not really one-for-one. Do the Texans look like a smarter franchise picking a taller, seemingly better quarterback? Of course they do.
It's not even just that. Just pretty much all their draft picks. They've hit a lot of home runs with their draft picks.
Yeah. Fucking Tank Dell, man.
Tank Dell.
Tank Dell's having a great season. A great season.
What a great name for a football player, too. Maybe not like a wide receiver, but
two tanks.
Tank Dell.
God.
Yeah, I imagine Tank Dell as a defensive lineman, not
two tanks
not
in the draft this
receiver.
season. In the draft this season, by the way, Tank Dell and Tank Bigsby. Tank Dell, much better.
Who was the other tank?
Tank Bigsby. which is amazing.
Bigsby? That's another great football name.
An amazing name. Like what
position did he play?
I think he is a wide receiver. No, he's a running back. Tank Bigsby. I'm gonna look it up.
Oh, that's a good name for a running back.
Yeah, he's a running back. Tank Bigsby.
Run like a tank. Smash! NFL smash!
I want to say that the internet has informed me that Eddie LeBaron was a 4-time Pro Bowler quarterback. He was 5'7". So
too short.
I just want to say apparently not. Apparently not.
Pro Bowl doesn't mean anything.
That's very short.
A short kid's dream.
Pro Bowl doesn't mean anything. I mean, like
Doug Flutie though. Doug Flutie was a pretty good quarterback, and he was 5'9".
Yeah, he was an okay quarterback.
What do you mean okay? You would love if he was on the Giants.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe.
Think about all the quarterbacks you've had in between Phil Simms and Eli Manning.
I can't remember a lot of their names.
Could have been Doug Flutie.
That's the
One
thing.
of them could have been Doug Flutie.
That's how it works. There's only a few guys that are Peyton Manning and the few guys that are Pat Mahomes and a few guys that are Jalen Hurts. It's the reason they get paid a lot of money.
Pete's talking about cereal again. He says Flutie was good enough to have his own breakfast cereal.
And the NFL, right, isn't one for one. Like, you know who else is not going to be a successful quarterback? Who is a very NFL quarterback? Who is a very successful college quarterback? Stenson Bennett, who hasn't played one game this season because of some random thing that I don't.
Is he even on an NFL roster?
No, he got drafted by the Rams. He's a Ram, but he got put on PUP before game 1, and they didn't talk about the reason, and he hasn't played one game. And it's maybe because he's a tiny little snack of a man, but he's a world champion. He's won 3 Rose Bowls with Georgia. I mean,
so is Tim Tebow.
Right. So is Tim Tebow. It's not one for one. You can't.
So is AJ McCarron.
There's so many
so
of
is
them.
Vince Young.
There's so many of them, Mark. There's so many of them. First round washouts is a very, very, very common NFL thing, especially in quarterback.
Also, so I haven't heard a single word you guys have said because I've been
You've been researching.
Would they be Fluties? Would they be Flutios?
Flutie Flakes.
Flutie Flakes.
They were Flutie Flakes, by the way. That happened.
What?
That's
it's a real thing. He had a breakfast cereal.
That is a true fact.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was an advertising thing, but he had Flutie Flakes for sure.
Well, that's great.
They're pretty good too.
Cash the check.
I mean, they were just cornflakes.
Wow.
You're just cornflakes.
Mark, we need to do this show every day. It's so fun. It's so fun. And we're out of time. Mark, what am I going to talk about? I don't even know.
I don't know. I haven't seen your topics.
I don't even know.
By the way, that's the end of my sports topics.
No way.
I had more. I have 2. One's political.
We're going to talk about another music question. We're going to do it. All right.
Yes.
Give me a next topic.
Next topic now!
All right, so in other cool news, legendary director Rob Reiner announced production for the This Is Spinal Tap 2. It will begin in February, and the original cast of Michael McKean, Harry Shearer, and Christopher Guest are set to reprise their roles as the original band. And mega stars Paul McCartney, Elton John, and Garth Brooks are going to guest star. Rob Reiner states that he never planned to do a sequel, but began discussing it with the actors, and they came up with an idea that might work. So is this dumb? It sounds dumb. My first thought was that, but also Rob Reiner isn't a guy who would just make something bad, especially a film that theoretically put him on the map. Will we see this? And what do we think about unnecessary sequels to great films in general?
I was really weirded out for a minute because I thought Michael McKean died. But I just looked it up on the interwebs, and he is still alive.
I did my research, Mark. And Christopher Guest.
You might want to edit that part out.
I love me some Christopher Guest.
I mean, yeah. So this is Spinal Tap. 40 years ago.
Yeah.
So, I mean, do we want to see a bunch of people in their 70s? I guess we have the Rolling Stones, right? So I don't know. I mean, we've wanted to see a sequel to This Is Spinal Tap for a long time, yeah. But it might be like 30 years a little too late. But it's phenomenal. I think that because The first one was just so funny.
I mean, just like
funny.
epically good, right?
Epically good.
Like this is Spinal Tap is the kind of movie like Inception or whatever that you tell your friends to see, like, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're just like, this movie you have to see. You just have to see.
Kyle, you've seen this, right? You've seen this as Spinal Tap?
Yeah. Well, and I've never told anyone to watch Inception, but I have told people to go watch this Spinal Tap.
You know what? I was gonna come up with something much better, and my brain shut off. And that's why I said
Inception was not a good example.
That's totally okay. So that aside, I mean,
sorry, Leo DiCaprio.
Come on, The Prestige. Here, I just redeemed myself. The Prestige.
Yeah. Thank you. David Bowie as
fuck yeah, The Prestige is great. Shut your mouth.
The best.
I didn't say anything.
Yeah,
I see your eyes.
You looked a certain way that made me uncomfortable. Because that movie is excellent.
Yeah.
But no, this is Spinal Tap. Again, absolute classic. It is this phenomenal lampooning of like what it is to be a musician, and to play in a band, to tour, to work with those people in that environment, right? And it's so funny and it's so relatable for someone anyone that has been a musician or done any type of stage work, and it's got so many classic lines, right? Like ours go to 11. My personal favorite is when they get the little Stonehenge, and the guy's like, whether or not he knows the difference between inches or feet, not my problem. Right? Like, and it's like, that guy, you see that guy and you're like, I know that guy who's just like, I do what I'm told. You know what I mean? And so is there plenty to still make fun of about the music industry? Absolutely. Like what it was back then and what it is now, it's two completely different worlds, right? Like, and the rock star has changed. Like who is a rock star has changed, right? So I do think that there's plenty of source to like work off of, but I'm so hesitant because I like sequels. It's bad. Like, right, we've gotten to such a creatively bankrupt point. We need fresh blood. We need new IP. We need new stories and new heroes. And it's just like, will I see it? Maybe. It really depends, because it could go so sideways.
That's the thing that really resonates. You take a movie like this, which was really like almost Clerks underground, right? And something that everyone
it was iconic.
Right, but everyone who knows better has seen this as Spinal Tap, but you also, wasn't mainstream at all.
No.
And so to take a movie like that and to just like throw 75-year-old Christopher Guest, he's 75 by the way, into a movie and expect him to be the same kind of funny is a real big ask.
I mean, those guys are funny though, right?
Those guys are hilarious.
The songs are brilliant, right? They're good songs. Like you can just put those songs on and just listen to them.
Right.
They're great, right? So like, can they do it? I hope so. I don't want to see them set up to fail though.
Well, and the oddity of this, and the reason why I brought it up in the question is like, Rob Reiner doesn't just make shit.
No, he doesn't.
He's not. He's not that guy. He's not that big explosion like refresh movie guy. He's just not.
But the chances that you can take now, it's such a different environment.
Yeah.
I'd certainly be concerned about studio meddling, or what the final product that they can.
Why don't you just talk about like the investment portion of it and the fact that if someone is going to invest $50 million in you or $100 million in you, that they want a sure thing, right?
Yeah, well, there's no.
You mean like The Flash?
The Flash made a ton of money.
Yeah. But yeah, again, because you need something that's going to knock it out of the park in the theater, right? Like, and that's why this is Spinal Tap 2 has a better chance of doing that than having a new cast of characters who maybe they're sitting in their bedroom studio and they're going through a modern plot. that's still, again, kind of talking about the same things, but it's a new, fresh take. Like, not going to get people in the theater.
We like a remake. We like a sequel better than a remake.
Yeah, well, because there's, I can't have underground anymore. I can't rely on DVD sales or VHS sales, right? I have to get somebody sitting in a theater immediately for me to have a payback. And so, it's kind of, again, I'm concerned that it's creating a situation for these really, really brilliant and talented artists. It's setting them up maybe to fail is my concern.
Yeah, probably.
I hope not.
Probably.
I don't know.
I mean, if we look at like modern movies, right? And we look at like the Marvel's failing after the first weekend, making over $50 million. I mean, just like the amount you need to succeed is just, it's getting really aggressive. And the fact of it is, like, something like that should have made a ton of money, and it didn't. So why is that? Well, it didn't because there was a lot of initial bad press. But, like, how do you control that? How do you make a movie and guarantee an investment for as much money as it takes to make a modern film? It's crazy. It's crazy.
You got to make good choices.
No, it's just the reason why I don't even think it's that anymore. It's the reason why we're not getting
totally that.
I don't.
You have
it's
to have
the
good
reason
writers.
why we're not getting original content, because no one is willing to take a risk on something that might not make their money back. Straight up.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
I do think I at least I have maybe a smidgen of hope after the incident that was Barbenheimer this year.
Fucking
right?
Barbenheimer, bro.
But I mean, like, huge smashes, and they weren't superhero movies. They weren't sequels, right? They were still, to an extent, at least Barbie, it was a familiar IP.
Also, hot
right?
take, Barbie was better than Oppenheimer.
I didn't see either.
Hot take. I think it was.
That is a hot take.
And I mean, they were both very good.
I want to see them.
Oppenheimer's probably going to win more awards than Barbie. Let's be honest.
I mean, I don't know. Giving Greta Gerwig best director, that's a move that the Academy can make and really make a splash.
And Oppenheimer didn't have Michael Cera.
She doesn't not deserve it.
Well, all right. By better, do you mean was it more entertaining or was it a better movie?
I think it was a better movie.
Because those are two different things.
I think it was a better movie. I think it was a better film.
All right.
And from a film perspective, not even an enjoyment perspective. I think the characters had a little more development. I think that the story was a little better. And maybe just because biopics are hard. Like, biopics are hard to make original because they are a biopic. But, there were parts of Oppenheimer that were a little long in the tooth. Honestly.
So, Mark, do I have time for a question? I'm going to keep asking.
Do you have anything you want?
So you
John will just cut it out.
I'm not gonna. I love content.
Fix it in post. Mark, you brought up the, was it a better made film or was it more enjoyable? Question I always like asking people: is there good and bad art?
That's a good question.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, all right. So that's one response. That's like 50% of the responses that I get to that question, and then there's another 50%. So Mark, run with it. Like, what is your why is it a black and white? Of course, there's good and bad art.
Well, that question, while it is kind of a yes or no, I don't know if good and bad art is a black and white response, because what I might consider to be bad art, someone else might consider to be good art. So that is purely, while it's an objective answer, it's purely a subjective question.
I think film as a form of art is a little different, and mainly because, right, I enjoy bad movies because I'll enjoy a slasher flick or like something. I love comic book movies. Are comic book movies good film? No, of course not. They're not. Right? So, do I love a good movie? Like, did I like Oppenheimer because of how well crafted it was and how good it was acted? Yeah. I mean, and I think those are two different things. Because you can make a good movie and not make it be good art, but you can make a good movie that is good art, and I like them differently. Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And if you have an opinion, make sure that you drop it in the comments.
Hey, like and subscribe.
Hey, yeah.
Tickle that
Oh,
bell.
yeah.
You didn't say it in the intro because Pete's not
I didn't
here.
say it.
I've got to get invited back.
Yeah, you totally are. Honestly, the show's going great, by the way. Just so you know.
But we're way over time. We're way over time.
All right.
I'm sorry. Thank you for entertaining
Do
me.
it. Do the next topic. Do it now.
So in a turn of events that's left many political observers baffled, George Santos remains a member of Congress as of this recording of the podcast, despite a whirlwind of controversy. Now imagine walking the halls of the Capitol where whispers and sideways glances follow Santos like shadows. His resilience in the face of mounting scrutiny is something of a political high wire act. Each day brings new revelations, yet Santos, like a Houdini-like flair, seems to dodge the political fallout that would typically unseat a less tenacious figure. Back in his district, constituents are in a state of bewilderment, their morning coffee conversations dominated by the latest Santos saga. Meanwhile, on social media, memes abound, portraying Santos in scenarios as outlandish as his alleged fabrications. In this bizarre political landscape, though, Santos' continues tenure is a stark reminder of the unpredictable and often surreal nature of American politics. By the way, that entire thing was done by ChatGPT, and I did not edit it at all.
But I just want to let you know, I was totally thinking that, and I totally knew you didn't write it. This is not how you write.
That's totally not how I write. So, everyone, how has George Santos made it this far in Congress?
Because the political landscape in modern America is filled with garbage people, and he's another garbage person. I mean,
but what has he done? He's done
topic.
like nothing. He's done like nothing.
But who cares? Because no one, like you have, let's say you have, 50 million people in your district, right? And how many of those 50 million people actually care how good of a politician you are? How many things you've accomplished?
They may have voted for you because of one thing that you've either done or said.
How ethically viable you are, or what your moral standpoint is on hot button issues. Nobody gives a shit. And so it is fucking disturbingly sad. It's disturbingly sad how true that is.
The thing with Santos, though, he seems to. So the whole. The whole we want to bring both parties together. For whatever reason, there's a lot of bipartisanship associated with George Santos. Like, everyone wants him gone. Both sides of the aisle want him gone. His district wants him gone. But he's still there. He has refused to resign. Now, he has this whole ordeal with the ethics committee right now, and a whole laundry list of things that he's being accused of. Let me just go down the list. This is fun. So he's used political funds for Botox, personal travel and purchases at Hermes and OnlyFans.
OnlyFans, you say?
OnlyFans.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. That's bringing up an old topic. Illegally received unemployment benefits in June of 2020. He committed identity theft by stealing donor credit cards for unauthorized purchases. He's lied to Congress about some financial disclosures. He reimbursed himself for loans he did not make. He lied about where he went to high school and college and being a volleyball star. He lied about working on Wall Street. He lied about founding an animal charity and swindled a disabled vet. He lied about his mother dying on 9/11. He lied about his grandmother being a Holocaust victim. He lied about his niece being kidnapped. And this really has nothing to do with anything, but I'd always like to mention it. He was potentially a drag queen in Brazil known as Ula Richard.
He's a very odd-looking man. I do not think that is on.
How did he ever get elected?
Nobody cares.
Well, I mean, it's fraudulent behavior, right? It was going to the public and saying, "Here are my credentials. I, as a citizen, might not, I'm not going to go to the local library and dig into records and try to uncover what is true or not about this individual." So it was. I think it's a combination of fraudulent behavior and, of course, us moving to a more bipartisan, just vote down the ticket for your affiliate party, right? So if you show up, you see he's the Republican candidate, you say I'm a Republican.
Because you want to vote for Republican, right? Yeah.
Yeah, you kind of check the box. So unfortunately, I think that's why we're seeing the bipartisan blowback too, because it's not something you can say it's a witch hunt, right? Like it's just hey, I went to this university and he doesn't have a degree, or like I went to this government and they were investigating him for wire fraud, right? Like we're kind of in a factual area where suddenly magically in politics we're agreeing on a singular reality, and that reality is pointing towards this man's under investigation, and it is inarguable that he lied to people. So
I mean, what politician hasn't lied to people, right? That is actually his defense right now. It's like, you know what? I'm working with a bunch of scumbags too, so why aren't they being put in the same? And in some respects, he's got a point.
Yeah, but whataboutism is not helpful. Like, right? Like, I broke the law, but he did too. Well, we're not talking about him, right?
They're
like,
all dirty. Come on, all politicians are
that
dirty.
person later. Like, we're figuring out through due process what you did wrong, right? Like, just because, and I think that's a major problem too, right? Of like, it's just a very low brow sort of point that we've gotten to of like, I can't be held accountable because there's either a real or perceived notion that my opponent was also doing that, or they did something worse. And again, real or perceived. It's again, I think unfortunate where we've gotten in the discourse, but this one seems to be a universal, hey, this guy, he is not qualified to be representing anyone.
Now, it's not set in stone yet. Now, there's going to be a vote in the House tomorrow, being Friday. If you hear this on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, the vote would have already happened. Now, presumably, they say they have the votes to kick him out of Congress. They need 2/3 of the votes, not just a simple majority, to actually kick him out. So we'll see what happens.
We'll
see what
you
happens.
like that? We'll see, Mark.
Yeah.
I think it's.
I
think it's your favorite.
Time will tell. That's what I used to say on the What These Balls Miss. I think that he will go. I think there's going to be enough votes to actually kick him out. We'll see.
Oh, we're out of time. I think we'll leave it on the we'll see. You're so interesting, Mark.
That's got to be the part of the new drinking game, right? If I say we'll see,
Mark,
time will tell.
Mark, the most interesting man in the world, is ready for a next topic.
In a world.
Do it!
I can't do it as well as Pete.
Yeah, I know. Pete, we miss you.
Yeah,
all right.
I challenge you next time I'm on this podcast, which will be never because I won't be invited back. I dare you to be brave enough to show up, show me your face, and not have a kid. So
there's early discussions with his agents that the Stefan child will appear on the finale of this season of If These Balls Could Talk, but we haven't agreed to their terms yet.
Very high maintenance.
I do also want to make it very clear that I'm so astoundedly happy for both of you.
Oh my God!
I do at the end of this episode. I do want to professional wrestler challenge you to fight me on this podcast.
I love it.
Well, this took for a turn.
Very interesting.
Go ahead, John.
I don't know what I want to talk about, Mark. I'm feeling torn. But we're going to talk about our favorite topic. So, guys. AI! After a week of turmoil at OpenAI, the dust seems to be settling. CEO, who I have called for his assassination, and apparently it made him be fired. CEO Sam Altman has been fired.
You actually were the one that got him fired.
Because everybody's listening, along with 95% of the staff signing a petition and threatening to join Altman at Microsoft, where he was set to start if the board didn't resign. In their letter, staff said that directors had undermined, this is quotes, our mission and company, in the way that Altman was fired and stripped co-founder Greg Brockman of his position, subsequently forcing him to quit. So my question, and what yours should be, is what caused the most profitable startup of the last 10 years to almost implode? So Altman said something interesting the day before his firing. He said he'd been in the room for a rare breakthrough. And before the firing, several staff wrote a letter to OpenAI's board warning of a new AI discovery that could, again in quotes, threaten humanity. So
the more I hear about, oh, I'm sorry, you haven't asked your question yet.
I haven't asked my question yet, but it's okay because it's insane. So what happened at OpenAI? Did we just experience the singularity? Or is it just AI companies being fully invested in their own jargon and self-importance?
I mean, clearly, everyone at OpenAI has been listening to the podcast and has just followed suit for you to get Sam Altman fired. However, I guess we failed to realize that apparently Sam Altman's a leader of an OpenAI cult, and that everyone just kind of wants to follow and do what Sam Altman says.
I mean, a little bit.
I mean, what do you mean a little bit? I've remind me now. Sam Altman, did he get reinstated at OpenAI?
Yes, he is again the CEO of OpenAI.
He did
because the board resigned.
Because the board resigned.
Because.
So, John, do you think that is the right move?
I don't know. I mean, I am more specifically interested in, and the name of the program, by the way, is QStar, and the development that I believe and that most of the internet believes happened is that they successfully got an AI to perform reasoning tasks and solve math problems and other reasoning problems that they had never seen before. So like the difference between a language learning model and what QStar is trying to be is it's the difference between pattern recognition and actual like internal intelligence, right? I think they did it. I think they did. Because what's going to cause all those really smart people drinking the AI Kool-Aid to say, this is maybe a little too much, you guys?
So then I have to ask. So I've got some pretty strong opinions, but I love questions. I'm going to ask a question.
We've noticed.
Yeah, it's a bad habit.
Do it.
Do you think it was a knee-jerk reaction? Do you think that happened and then the board panicked? They felt that they weren't informed that this was something that was, at the stage that it was. So it was we disagree the pace that this is advancing, or what do you think that was the cause of?
I do. By the way, of his firing, I think the week before he got fired, Sam Altman asked for new funding from Microsoft for this project. I mean, I think that he is really, really invested in developing, like, a sentient being, like thinking AI, and whether or not it's possible, I don't think he cares about. I think that he thinks it's possible, and he's working towards it being possible. Now, that being said, reasoning and the sort of the purpose of QStar is the purpose of all modern AI research. Everybody has large language models now, and they want to get to the next step, and the next step is reasoning. So this is the question of even if you can, should you? That's the question that we have posed ourselves now.
Yeah,
but that is the future, though, isn't it?
Stand?
That's the future. That's where it's going. We want, as a society, not necessarily in the short term, but probably in the long term, for AI to be able to do certain things for us. And reasoning is going to be part of that.
See, I think that there's a difference, though, Mark. I think, and I am all for technology tools. I mean, I am a professional technologist, self-admitted. I love all of it. But there's a difference, I think, between what language learning models are and the fact that they're mostly like an efficiency tool because most of humanity is pretty lazy, and what the idea of, let's just say QStar for sake of argument, could be. Like, I don't know if I want to develop a self-thinking entity that the morally bankrupt people at OpenAI would just sell to the military to say, let's just get right into it, run their raptors, right?
And we've kind of already seen it, right? So the there was those two entities that were that started like they created their own language, and they locked like the human beings out of control for a while, right? So it happened.
Yeah.
Like our worst fear happened.
Yeah.
Not like in the year like 2120. No, it happened in the year 2023.
Kyle, before we run out of time, because I think you have strong feelings about this, I would like to hear them.
Okay,
Yes.
Here's the deal, gentlemen. No, I think the crux of the issue is exactly what you brought up, John, which is that like there is the like optimistic futurist vision of what we're going to do with this, like we could have the 3-day work week, or we'll be able to free up human beings to do higher thought processes, and like, or we can have AI help us solve medical issues or world problems. That's not what we're going to do with it. That's absolutely not what we're going to do with it.
I know.
Right? Like,
I know.
Like you said, yeah, we're going to sell it to the military, and a drone can pick targets on its own, or
we're going to create like a robot girlfriend.
Yeah, or we're going back to our previous conversation about music. We're just going to steal everyone's intellectual property, jam it into an AI generator, and pump that out, and then all of a sudden we don't need these pesky artists with all their bright ideas and having their hands out asking for
So
money.
I just read an article today, not an article, but a kind of a like an op-ed, that Amazon has now limited self-publishing to 21 books, I think, a month, because people are publishing PDF versions of books that are entirely AI created and trying to sell them. I mean, just think about that, right? For a second. 21 rubbish generated AI books sold to people under the concept of them being original work, and just totally diluting the market. Totally, in everything, every single topic that there is.
And yeah, not just adult books either, though. We're talking about kids' books too, that an unsuspecting parent might pick up, give to their kid. It has no real meaning or content. What impact does that have on a child for pre-reading processes where they're trying to figure out things like narrative, character development, right? Like if you're just giving them nonsense, and there's no safeguards, right? There's, maybe Amazon is capping, but are they trying to verify what is human generated and what is AI generated?
21 is still a big fucking number.
Yeah, that's still
a lot of books. 21 a month.
In 1 month,
if we went to later tonight, 60 books out there.
I mean, Jesus Christ. And here's the thing, right? So AI has been like ChatGPT 4.0 has been out for 6 months. 3.5 has been out for another 6. How many books that are currently being sold haven't had a human even look
AI
at
generated?
them?
Yeah.
Because
I don't know. It kind of makes me want to start though.
There's no rules currently.
No, don't contribute to the chaos.
And
be strong.
Like, I can open up Photoshop right now. This current release of Photoshop, I can press one button to remove a background on any picture. I can press another button to add literally anything to any picture. And I am not good at Photoshop. I can go on Adobe Firefly and I can ask it to generate absolutely anything with a sentence, and it will. It's so fucking easy right now. And I don't know, the technologist in me really loves it, by the way. It's super efficient. I feel really good about it. It saves me
but us as a society totally takes advantage of it.
Yeah, there's a lot of
and to make money.
What'd you say?
We have to ask what we're giving up.
Yeah.
Because, like, yes, I get something, right? Maybe I can do something a little bit faster, but what am I giving up?
Yeah.
And I think we are running a very serious circuit. And I don't want to be a pessimist about it because, like, sure, as soon as the first drum machine came out, I'm sure a drummer was like, what are you doing? Stop. And it's produced a lot of really great things. Or, a photographer who is just like, what is this digital camera? Like, film is, perfect the way it is. So, maybe we can figure out how to regulate it.
Well,
maybe we can figure out how to not lose ourselves entirely.
I think this one is dangerous. And
it creates a risk. It creates a new level of risk that
I think the danger is not like digital DSLR photography, clearly better than film in every way, but artists can still be artists. I think that the idea of a whole generation of people growing up with the without the need to be creative on the spot is a real question for like our future as a society, and not in our lifetimes, but like in 100 years. Like we've all seen Idiocracy. If we take away that need, people are gonna lose it generationally, right? So I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm on the fence. I like using it. It's really fun.
Yeah, but creating is like inherently human, and if we give that away or have those, again, to your point, the transition to digital, there was still a human being behind the experience, pulling the trigger.
Right.
This is potentially letting go of that.
And I think Pete, who is our resident artist, can tell you that he still makes a ton of decisions based on settings that are mimicked digitally on his phone and on DSLRs. I mean, you're still controlling output and making creative decisions. You are. I take a little photography, like a little bit. Anyway, we're out of time.
But what if you're not? What if you're not choosing what the exposure is? What if it's just automatically decided for you?
I mean, right? Because it could be. Yeah. And
when you break it down, it's decisions that we make are really just a bunch of random facts in our head, ones and zeros, and it's something that could be made technically by some kind of AI.
I mean, and it is, and it will be, and there will be a day in the near future, not the distant future, the near future, where you will not have to make those decisions at all for anything.
That is a truth fact.
I mean, and then the question is that good or bad?
All right, we got to move on.
Make sure you drop your opinion down in the comments.
Kyle, you're so good at being a broadcaster. I love it.
We got to move on.
Well, it's your turn, so
baby,
move it, man.
Do you want a next topic?
Hey, it's a Pete.
You talked over it. I got to do it again.
Hey, baby, do you want a next topic?
I don't know.
All right, so
I don't know what he's talking about, man. I'm out for one show. I know.
I'm gonna have my last topic is gonna be my last topic is gonna be a happy one, hopefully. No. And again, continued all by ChatGPT. I was a little bit lazy this episode. So talking, I love how. By the way, I love how we're talking about AI replacing us, and I pretty much did this whole thing with AI. Anyway. So, Black Friday and Cyber Monday have become the Super Bowl of shopping, a whirlwind weekend where wallets open wider than ever. Imagine the scene, eager shoppers camping outside stores in the chilly pre-dawn hours, armed with thermoses and shopping strategies, all for the pursuit of once-a-year deals. Then comes Cyber Monday, where the physical hustle of Black Friday turns in digital. Fingers fly across keyboards and smartphones with consumers hunting for online bargains from the comfort of their homes or even during sneaky office hours. That's not me. So this shopping extravaganza marks the unofficial kickoff for the holiday season. Amidst this frenzy, retail giants and small businesses alike dance to the ringing of cash registers while buyers revel in the satisfaction of snagging jaw-dropping deals. It's a weekend of consumer madness marked by crowded stores, overloaded websites, and the unending quest for the best bargain. So everyone, what Black Friday or Cyber Monday deals did we take advantage of?
I gotta tell you, Mark, you gotta start writing your own questions. That was really bad.
At least a little too long.
At least a little too long.
Just a little.
You know what's
That's what she said?
You know what's interesting about ChatGPT generated like question content, like creative content? It's always following a template. And I mean, like, right, if we understand how it works, that's what it does.
Yeah.
It's
imagine the scene. Picture this.
Right. It's trying to it writes like it's taking the internet as its example, because it is doing that.
There was one time where it was doing a little bit more to what I had it, like a little bit more about my writing. I do have to probably preload some of my writing from now on, but
it's pretty easy.
It's all right.
There is
You're pretty easy.
I am easy on the eyes. Hey. I have been so fucking distracted that I haven't done any shopping at all, and that's really scary, actually. But
really?
I haven't done any shopping at all.
Not even Cyber Monday deals.
No, I totally skipped it. I'm also really broke because I do this podcast that doesn't pay me, and spend all my money. So, whatever.
All right. To be fair, you don't spend all your money on the podcast.
I know I don't spend all my money on the podcast. I spend all my money on eating and being warm,
on life, on being a human,
and the internet. But also, we do other
think
stuff.
You could
right?
have a whole other part-time job if you weren't here.
It takes a lot of time.
Don't give him ideas, Kyle.
It's really.
I said start a Patreon.
Then I'll just be talking to myself and arguing with myself.
I don't know. I used to like it when it was kind of an adventure. I used to do like the stay up after Thanksgiving and drive over to Best Buy with our friend Jeff. Hey Jeff, and we used to wait outside the mall in the freezing cold, and we used to stay up and play cards in the Palisades until 4 or 5 or 6 a.m. It was literally just the whole night, just eating chips and hanging out. And then that was really fun. It was like an adventure, and it was kind of cool. It was kind of something that people didn't do. The over-commercialization of it is poor. I don't really dig it.
It's a lot of commercialization, and they're extending the deals too.
I
I know Walmart had a bunch of Black Friday deals for the whole month of November.
Right. It's become just a marketing term, and we all know that the over-marketing of anything makes it bad. Just makes it bad.
Well, and now we're living in post-pandemic, real and artificial inflation Black Friday, which means that deals aren't exactly what they used to be. If anything, maybe they get us back to 2019 prices. So taking a look around this year, it was just pretty bleak. Nothing hit me like it used to and tempt me into, I did, I'm building my home studio back up. So I did get some mics for a little teeny bit of a discount. I needed to buy them anyway.
Yeah.
But, so it wasn't really I don't think it has the same draw. I will say the one positive thing that I think is happening is I do think that it's, with things moving to more digital, big box retailers not opening up on Thanksgiving is a good thing. Retail workers this is super surprising to some people. They are, in fact, human beings, and they should be able to be with their families and have time off. The sweet gears of capitalism can pause, and people can online shop.
Now, is that though partially related to the fact that big box stores probably only have another 5 to 10 years of a lifespan?
I don't know. Maybe.
It's probably a little more than that.
Do you think so? Because they're all the Macy's.
Walmart's not going away.
All the Macy's and JCPenney's.
Target's not going away.
And all of the Searses and all of the Caldor and all of the things that weren't going away when we were 10 and 12 and 15. And not Kyle, because he wasn't born yet. But
I didn't exist.
I mean, all of those things are gone. They're gone.
But I
can't imagine Target going under in 10 years though.
Yeah, at least localized to this one thing. I think it has more to do with the fact that there's just less foot traffic because people can.
We also know what's really interesting
about
this. I don't necessarily know if any retailer is giving us a deal on anything ever.
No.
I'm going to use an example. You look at Amazon Prime Day, and Amazon Prime Day could be rebranded as Clear Out the Warehouse Day because all of the stuff they're selling on Prime Day is shit.
Oh, shit.
It's all shit.
Or it's Amazon products.
Right, or it's Amazon products. It's all wow, a Bluetooth speaker for 50% off. And you were like, wait a second. I've never heard of this brand. Wait a second. It's 3 inches tall. Uh-oh. Maybe this is a bad deal. Maybe it's actually overpriced. And I think that is more true in a lot of these. If you look at the laptop that Best Buy is selling you from a computer guy, the laptop that Best Buy is selling you for $400 under list on Black Friday, you'll be like, well, wow, this laptop only has 4 gigs of RAM.
Or it's made by a company like EDM.
Or wow, this laptop only has 128 gigabyte hard drive. There's a problem with it. I promise you there's a problem with it because there's
always...
a thing? Right. I promise you there's a problem with it because none of them, like you walk into the car dealership. This is the situation. You walk into the dealership and you say, I will not pay more than, $35,000. And then they come back with you and they're like, well, how about this, Mr. Campania? How about you pay your $35,000, but it's actually over 4 years with a 4.25% interest rate? Because they're trying to throw math at you because they're not your friend.
No.
They're not.
What do you mean they're not my friend?
They're not your friend, Mark. They're not your friend.
Mark, man, we can't let you go to a car dealership by yourself, dude.
All of my dealers are friends. They would never take advantage of me.
Right. I mean, and you totally don't have a mortgage guy in your pocket for your customers.
What you talking about?
Never do that.
Never. They're good people.
Yeah. But
No,
anyway,
they are actually good people.
anyway, and I guess I just don't think that anything is a deal anymore. So that's why last couple of years.
That's not a way to go at it.
The last couple of years, I've just been like, well, I guess.
It's an evolving shell game.
Yeah.
There's just new pieces being introduced, and they're being moved in different directions. But it feels worse. It feels like it used to be at least more fun as a consumer.
Black Friday empirically used to be more fun because it used to be cool.
Black Friday was never fun.
No, dude. All right. So a couple years ago, my best.
I was afraid I would
experience-
die in Black Friday.
There's no way you're gonna convince me a PS4 with Spider-Man like pretty soon after it was released back in 2018 for $200. You're not gonna sit here and tell me that wasn't fun.
Fun.
No.
That was fun.
No.
Okay, that's fine. All right. Fuck me, I guess. Next topic.
That's right,
I don't
Kyle.
know.
That's why you're not getting invited back to the podcast.
All right, so we're at time, and you just said "fuck me." Next topic, and we're going with it because that's amazing.
Perfect.
But
Clip it.
But
Oh, Pete's not here. You can't yell at us.
Final topic.
Oh, it's still going.
We're really bad at this. Pete makes noises. Do it, Mark.
It's the final topic.
That's amazing. It's so good, man. It's my favorite thing.
I know.
So to end it, we're gonna go back to sports, and mainly because some of my questions are getting a little old. So earlier in November, Milwaukee Bucks star Giannis Antetokounmpo, which I definitely said wrong. Been a minute.
Giannis Antetokounmpo.
There it is. Was ejected from a recent game after receiving 2 technical fouls for unsportsmanlike conduct. So the first was reasonably standard, disagreeing with a call and using profanity at the ref. The second was called after Giannis taunted Pistons forward Isaiah Stewart for being too short after driving to the hoop and dunking over him. If you've ever seen the too short NBA taunt, it's amazing. So
Kyle,
fun.
I think you're right. I think John has a problem with short people.
He just does not enjoy.
While the
people.
rules state that players are ejected after receiving 2 technical fouls, teeing up a league star for a celebration seems like the refs are having trouble reading the room and realizing that's part of what makes the NBA interesting. So what do you think about this call, celebrations in professional sports, and how leagues should deal with them in general?
I mean, taunting has always been kind of something that you get a technical for. I think really this has more to do with the fact that the players are getting paid so much money that they think they're gods. They think they can walk on water and they can do whatever the F they want. I mean, so a good example of this, not to kind of add on to Giannis, Draymond Green, who's a player for the Golden State Warriors, he literally tried to choke out Rudy Gobert on the Jazz.
Yeah, that is true.
Just literally, he had him in a chokehold for a while. He got like a 3 or 4 game suspension. I forget how long. It was tiny. Could you imagine that happening in the real world? What would happen to that person if they tried to choke out someone in the real world?
I mean, you go to jail.
You go to jail.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, but this is a different thing. I mean,
is it though? I think
empirically.
it's. I think it is, but it's not. Like these
No,
players.
it's different when you're rich.
Yeah, it's different when you're rich.
I
That's
actually
why.
am here to defend millionaires. That is what
Kyle is the voice of millionaires.
The voice of millionaires
reversal.
throughout the world. Well, I mean, and maybe not this because it had some taunting in it, but let's like think about earlier in the season, Tyreek Hill borrowed a cell phone and did a backflip, and the NFL
Now that I feel bad about.
and the NFL posted it on their Twitter account, their X account, because it was awesome. It was.
And then what did they do with the cameraman? Did you hear about this?
Fired him, right?
did.
They took away his credentials for the whole season, and apparently,
Even though they posted it on social media.
he was like, "This is the greatest moment in my professional life," and actually, the reason that Tyreek did it is because they're friends from college.
They're friends, yeah.
Yeah, actual friends from college. Tyreek Hill's like, "Oh, I'll do something awesome."
That is completely unacceptable. Because I'm a huge fan of excessive celebrations. I do think so. Taunting, no. Excessive celebrations, just constantly. They should be all over the place. They're fun. They're engaging. And like I guess maybe this is informed like growing up watching like Chad Ochocinco. Like that was just, it was fun. It was just, you didn't know what was going to happen. And
Terrell Owens too. Terrell Owens.
Yeah. And maybe it was a distraction from the game. And I understand why those things were eventually banned and removed. But I'm a very strong proponent of the theatrics. I think it is harmless. And something like this, and especially again, it's good enough to profit off of, but there's got to be
Also,
consequences.
all over the internet,
this random cameraman, like
all over the internet this past weekend, CJ Stroud and his offensive players, they set up the whole scene from Baby Boy, John Singleton's Baby Boy, and CJ Stroud is getting fined from that. Like, awesome celebrations. I want them in boats. I want them doing.
I haven't seen that.
I want them doing dance numbers. Like, all of that stuff is so great. So why are we making
that? I want to see that now.
Yeah, it's really good. You should look it up after the show. Everybody should look it up. It's really great. He fake punches one of the guys out and he falls because that's what.
Well, I saw that the touchdown celebration.
Yeah, that's.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, that's.
He got fined for that.
Yeah, he did.
Why?
I don't know. This is the NFL is so fucking weird. It's so weird.
Well, maybe fines for players. As long as there's no consequences of the game, I'm fine with fines with players. I've snapped out of it. I'm not here to defend millionaires. They can take money from them. If they make over a certain threshold, they can fine them. If they're just like an offensive lineman, leave them alone. But otherwise, like, just you'd think they'd be okay with it. Like, puts eyeballs on a screen, which is ultimately what they're looking for. And what I'm looking for is I want to see it say NFL sports entertainment.
And so
it's like wrestling.
It is super interesting. It is super interesting that you said that. CJ Stroud, when asked about his celebration after the game, CJ Stroud, by the way, is 22 years old, said, "I work in an entertainment business." He said the NFL is an entertainment business, and the reason I did it is because I thought it was awesome. So, boy, has his pulse.
That is a true fact.
I love CJ Stroud as a professional athlete right now, and I could not say that more emphatically. I just, everything he's doing this season is great.
Aw, you're starting a lot of fan clubs here.
I am
president of fan clubs between CJ Stroud and
I mean, I'm the Tommy Touchdowns fan club president.
And Tommy, yeah. Oh yeah, that's a conflict of interest there. So you have to choose between Tommy DeVito and CJ Stroud.
Well, no,
you're gonna choose the Italian, aren't you?
Yeah.
All right, that's probably a good place to end it on.
Well, if I maybe could I jump in with one?
Yeah, go ahead.
And it's not a question, so there you go. So again, from an outside perspective, I mean, not everyone in the NFL has maybe the cleanest record, right? Or sports heroes in general maybe make some questionable choices, both on and off the court / field / wherever they're playing, right?
Court / field.
You know, if it's something that's fun and harmless and maybe inspirational, then maybe it's okay if we celebrate that, but we take some other things that might be happening, some other unhealthy behaviors a little bit more seriously.
Yeah.
And let the fun things be fun.
Yeah, that's a good point. Stop beating up women, you guys.
Yeah, maybe just do that. Maybe have consequences for
stop beating up
domestic
women,
abuse, or like
your children. Stop beating up women and your children.
We didn't even talk about Von Miller, did we?
I don't know what that means, but I don't.
It's a bad story, and unfortunately,
story.
he will never play in the NFL again.
It's
a bad story,
and he used to be a very good player.
All right, ready, John?
I am not ready. I forgot the whole timing, so yes, I am ready.
You want me to talk really slowly on the outro?
No, I just want you to do it right, and so we're just gonna figure it out, and Pete's gonna cringe on our mark, but I don't. It's fine. It's fine because I'm here and Pete's not. Sorry, Pete.
I do. All right, the outro is a little bit longer because I did kind of anticipate you needing some help.
All right. So we're gonna talk about it. The outro is 45 seconds. And the intro is less than that. So I think you got to talk for 20 seconds, just about. That's the math I did before the show.
Just let me know when you're ready.
Well, you're just going to go, and we're going to see how it sounds.
All right, I'm just going to go. All right.
Yeah.
So that has been our 10 topics. We'd like to thank our guests for joining us this week. Thank you, Kyle.
Thank you so much for having me. This was actually a blast. And you should not invite me back.
No, you'll be invited again. You'll be invited again. Anyway, please subscribe to us by clicking that little bell or follow or like on our socials at If These Balls Pod on X, Instagram, Facebook, Threads, and now TikTok.
TikTok.
Our website is www.iftheseballscouldtalkpod.com. This is Mark Pesci, and for my partner John Campagna, that's what we feel they would say if these balls could talk.
I missed the mark, by the way, you guys.
We miss you, Pete.
Bye.
Bye.